Imagine a world where the Cold War had no referee. No NATO, no safety net, just pure uncertainty. After World War II, Europe was fragile, like a vase on a shaky table. Cities lay in ruins, economies were shattered, and millions of people were displaced, searching for hope in the rubble. Without NATO, Western Europe and the US wouldn't have had a united front against the Soviet Union. Instead, each country would have faced the looming Soviet threat alone, scrambling to rebuild and defend itself. Would the Cold War have been colder, or a lot hotter? Imagine Berlin, Vienna, or even Paris under constant threat of Soviet tanks rolling in, with no promise of American or British backup. Maybe the Soviet Union would have pushed harder into Europe, grabbing more land and spreading its influence from the Baltic to the Mediterranean. Countries like West Germany, Italy, or Greece could have faced communist uprisings or even direct invasions. Or perhaps, in the absence of NATO, Western European nations would have tried to form their own alliances, smaller, less coordinated, and possibly riddled with mistrust. France and the UK might have led rival coalitions, while smaller countries scrambled for protection. The US might have focused more on itself, turning inward and leaving Europe to fend for itself. American families in the 1950s might have watched the news, seeing Europe descend into chaos, while politicians debated whether to intervene at all. No NATO also means no famous Article 5, so attacks on one country wouldn't automatically bring in a dozen allies. Imagine a world where Hungary or Norway is invaded, and the rest of Europe just watches, unsure whether to risk their own safety. Smaller countries could have been easy targets. Baltic states, the Balkans, or even Austria might have fallen under Soviet control, changing the map of Europe forever. Without NATO's joint military drills and shared defense budgets, European militaries would have been weaker and less prepared. The arms race could have spiraled out of control, with nuclear weapons spreading to more countries desperate for protection. The global impact? The Cold War might have erupted into open conflict, with proxy wars not just in Asia and Africa, but right in the heart of Europe. The world could have seen more Berlin-style crises, more walls, and more iron curtains. So, next time you hear about NATO, remember, without it the world could look very, very different. A patchwork of rival alliances, a divided Europe, and a much more dangerous planet.